Good morning, everyone. Yes, good morning, no matter what the time of the day is, because a tennis player wakes up sometimes at 4 p.m. and still says good morning. That's why, good morning, everyone. We're here with Shanka, and
Good
he's
morning.
going to reveal the secret of his beauty and his skin. Anti aging is the topic today, ladies and gentlemen. Please tell us, how do you do that? How do you stay so fit and so, well, right now, I don't know, shiny?
Shiny moisturizer,
More so. Good, that helps. Okay, next
which
topic.
which lots of men don't do, I guess.
No, but honestly, it's been, look at Ronaldo, look at Messi, look at Djokovic, look at
Mhm.
all those players and athletes, and at age what, 37, 38, 39, some of them are 40, they're still in shape, and then that wasn't possible like 40, 50 years ago. Everyone's taking care of themselves, but also in the business world. Nowadays, you work what, 20 hours a day. Sometimes you what, sleep 3, 4 hours a night, and you still manage to work out. You still manage to do all the work. You're still picking up my phone calls at like 4 in the morning. How do you do that?
Oh, you just get used to it. It's just normal life.
Well, no, it's more than that. I mean, I can tell you about a few of my secrets, but you do take care of yourself. Like I think
Yeah, I mean, I do. I just do the basics, right? I just try to eat healthy. Doesn't mean I don't have
you take
the.
supplements.
Yeah, I do. I do.
And anything, any secrets you want to reveal there?
No secrets. I've just been reading lots of different studies on longevity and um, quite some research and some books. Now, the problem with me talking about it is there's no, let's say, scientific evidence
Yeah,
at
but
a human scale.
yeah.
So that's why I don't want to,
No, we don't have
induce
to.
anyone into error. But I've been taking some of the, let's say, the more known supplements that
Yeah.
were supposed to help mice, and that has been taken by some Harvard doctors,
Yeah.
and has apparently worked well for them. So, and
What I
to
want.
be actually, we actually had this conversation 2 days ago with Zara. My hair grows so fast. I need a haircut every 2 weeks, and my nails I need to cut them like every 5 days.
Really, what are you
Yeah,
taking?
that I think is caused by NMN.
Okay, that one. Okay, that's what I'm
Yeah.
taking as well.
So.
But the topic is not exactly what do you think. It's more like we advance. I think as humans,
Mhm.
and I think it's very important to take care of your finances,
Mhm.
of your career, but also of your body. I think one thing that unites us as well. We not just want to live long life. We
Mhm.
want to live an active
Life, yeah.
and an interesting and adventurous life. And I think that's also, it's gotten to the point where sometimes I even call you when I'm about to buy toothpaste. I'm like, okay, is this one better or this one better? Do we have stock in this one or we have stock in that one? You know what I mean? Like, it's just overall, it's just overall, like the world has changed. Like now, like you can be part of a brand, of a company,
Mhm.
of a movement, whether it's anti-aging, whether it's um, clothing. You buy
Mhm.
clothing and you support basically your own stock, and that leads us to let's go in depth into athletes and entrepreneurs, because
Mhm.
we touch base, and a lot of guys texted us on Instagram and said, "Look, we want to hear more about it. Like
Mhm.
we're really interested in like how does it really work? Obviously we don't know all the secrets,
Oh
but
yeah.
we hear things here and there, and like, and nowadays you see in the media like, oh, this athlete invested in this brand, or this athlete is starting this brand, and a lot of times I have to be like, well, slow down. They're
Mhm.
not starting a new brand. They just
Giving the name.
they're selling their name, and even if they have lots of equity,
Mhm.
it's they haven't invested 100 million into the
Yep.
brand. Maybe it's like media for equity sometimes.
Yeah.
Like there's different ways of making deals, and today we're going to talk about basically your experience with athletes becoming entrepreneurs, or
Mhm.
are or truly, if they are truly
For us,
entrepreneurs or
yeah.
not, and your take on it.
Well, I think so you have different stakeholders in that conversation.
Yeah.
From the athlete's point of view, you ideally want the least amount of risk. So that means if you can avoid investing your own money into a deal and you're going to get free equity for appearances or whatever, media for equity, that's probably your best option. Now, we know lots of guys that do it, um, but it's not open to just anyone. If you're one of the top guys, much easier to do media for equity
Yeah.
than if you're top 100
Well,
guy.
me, very hard. I tried it with Apple, didn't work out. Dang it. Didn't work out. I wonder why.
And then I think it's very important to understand the sector, because let's say if you are a B2B, a business selling to other businesses,
Yeah.
having an athlete may not do much.
Yeah.
So where the strengths of the athletes usually in consumer facing sectors. So yeah, best example, Michael Jordan. You want to jump like Jordan, you want to play like him, buy a shoe.
You want to be like Jordan. You want to
Yeah.
be like Mike.
You want to be the one of the
Be
best.
like Mike.
Exactly.
Very
So,
simple.
In some sports, it's
Is that
easier.
the most successful story an athlete has ever written?
I think so. I would say
By
so.
far, huh?
Yeah.
Like now my kids, they've never, I mean, I've never seen Michael play live,
Mhm.
unfortunately. I was very close. But my kids, no idea. But they know when we talk about basketball, it's Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's not LeBron, it's not Kobe,
Mhm.
unfortunately, it's Michael.
But you know what's funny? When I grew up and I was playing basketball, the number one guy I looked at was Kobe.
You.
Yeah. And then studying so much, I realized who he was looking at.
Oh, really?
And it's Michael. Yeah. That the styles are so similar. The mindset is the same. Literally the
So
same.
you were looking at Kobe, not Michael?
No, yeah, I was looking at Kobe. I was lucky to see him play. And have actually sink a game winner against Oklahoma City when Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook won that other team. And it was the famous game where there's 2 overtimes and there's Ron Artest, who was called back then Meta World Peace,
Yeah.
who elbowed James Harden and got ejected. But it was one of the craziest games. But yeah, coming back, Kobe for me was the number one guy. And who inspired me the most for so many years, because I could actually watch him, I could study him. And then after, when I start digging really deep, I realized that everything comes from Michael Jordan.
Kobe, was he also an entrepreneur?
He was.
He was?
Yeah.
I didn't hear too many stories about that.
Really? Body armor?
Oh, that was him?
Yeah, he invested. So he actually, Tiebreak Ventures on my end was kind of inspired by what he did with Bryant
Yeah.
and Stabell. So what he did, he put, I think, $6 million into
Kinda
the
missed
deal.
that with body armor. Dang it.
Yeah,
Wait,
he-
now, yes, I
Yeah,
remember a
there you
little
go.
bit, but...
So
okay.
the deal was pretty much, he put in, I think, $6 million. In 8 years, he made 400 back. When,
Good investment, solid.
When Coke bought Body Armor for 5.6 billion. So he really went from startup to the end, and that's why you really saw.
But was he just an investor? Or
He was mainly an investor, but then I think he did some ads as well for them
yeah, but
at
I
the very
mean,
beginning. Yeah.
ads and like,
But
sorry.
you know, Kobe's one of those guys that's very hands-on. So he doesn't like when he doesn't understand something. So he actually studied like balance
Yeah?
sheets and everything. Yeah.
What's the percentage of the athletes that do that, do you think?
The same percentage that would have won 5 NBA championships and been as relentless. It's very small.
So when we hear like all those crazy stories, oh, like athletes turn entrepreneurs, do they really turn entrepreneurs? Because what's the definition of entrepreneur to you?
It comes from the French word entreprendre, which
Of
for
course,
me.
bien sûr, monsieur. Il habite à Monaco, il parle français.
So for
Oui.
so for me, it's just someone that takes risks, takes actions to progress something. Yeah, trying to accomplish a larger task by taking a series of actions. So that's why your butcher is an entrepreneur as much as Elon Musk is.
Yes.
Different types, different styles, different sectors, but they're
But you
both
know what I
entrepreneurs.
mean.
Well, maybe you should define that.
Okay, so what's
We have lots of people that do know what we.
Well, that's why I ask you, what's the definition of entrepreneur to you?
My definition has become quite larger with time once you start appreciating your own community. Because I realize how difficult it is for some people just to wake up and do their bread, like the bakery just next to my home, and that takes a lot. Even if it's simple, like I'm making bread, but the guy is still waking up at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m.
That to
putting
me,
it
I
in,
agree.
working super hard, and then when you have economic slumps, or it's winter in Monaco, the guy doesn't get as many clients as in summer where you have these
100%.
bunch of people that just walk in. So for me, I appreciate those guys as much as the other extremes that have made millions.
I'm talking about athletes.
This is where now, let's say if we put an athlete in that sense, we know athletes that have had the high life and now own the business, which is very stable, but we know it won't make millions. We also know athletes that have hit it out of the park and have been associated to different deals. I think entrepreneurs are guys that have to adapt with time and understand their strengths. So even if the athlete hasn't
really
done
trying
much,
to follow here, okay?
even if the athlete hasn't done much and he just gave his name, but he gave it to the right group of people and got the right entourage, there's no reason. Yeah, I mean, all of them need to be lucky to get somewhere. But I think there's no reason for him to be less of an entrepreneur than the guy who actually sweated it out and did everything. Sadly, yeah.
Well, that's not the definition of entrepreneur to me when it comes to superstars. I mean, if you're an athlete or a superstar and you basically sell your name or give your name, you do a deal.
Yeah.
In a way, like, you know, commercial deal or whatever. Yeah. It just happens to be like you get paid not in cash, but like equity. A real entrepreneur is someone who actually either starts it from scratch or is hands-on. Like he takes decisions that like really can steer a company to one direction or another. When superstars, because they're so big and when superstars are larger than way larger than the brand, but the brand has enough money or equity to just give it to the superstar, and like they can put them as a poster board, like on every pack of whatever they're selling, on every poster. Like the superstar is not really acting as an entrepreneur. He acts like an athlete, like a superstar. Like, you know, he sells his image rights.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that would be more just like a single transaction. But I think lots of the guys afterwards always play some role in. Take Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, but I think he also he went to school and he studied and he knows what he's talking about.
But I mean, he has had some deals, I think, also where he just gave his name, but then he pushed the brand in the right direction, saying, "Look at those kids."
That's what I mean.
That's a more.
But that's what I mean.
But he didn't do more than, you know. He didn't actually build the shoe out. Did what maybe Kobe did with Nike, or LeBron did with Nike, where they actually went into the shoe and tried to build it themselves. So I think there's different definitions.
But he supervised it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's why for me that's an entrepreneur. Like
yes,
that.
I agree.
He didn't have to. He did. He took that extra step, and I think it paid off great. And quite a few.
Also, projects. I feel like a lot of times, if you're a superstar, you have a great team around you. Because to become a superstar, you need to build a team. You build a team. And then the team just tells you, look, this is a great company. Just give them your name or put in some money. Like you get a discount. You buy some shares. You get all the other shares for free or whatever at a discount. And then all you have to do is just sit back, relax. We'll do all the work for you.
Yeah.
That I feel like happens more often than the other part.
For sure, because there's not that many athletes that want to be part of the process as well.
Well, they can. They have a full-time job.
Yeah, but I mean, some that are retired, like even then, they still don't want to. They just want to maybe appear, speak a bit, but they don't want to like think too much.
Well, they don't actually know how. Like, what do you think is the percentage of athletes that know how a company works? Like,
you mean like top pro athletes?
Like, yeah, they understand. How do you start a company? What's the process of like? They wake up, I want to start a company. Like, where do I go? Do you register? Like, what? Trademark? All this. Like, how many people do you think know how to start a company?
Not many. I mean, I would assume it's... Starting a company is very easy. You can just log in and create it. Now, starting a successful company that has more or less is floating properly.
Easy to you.
No, but I mean, you could tomorrow. You could just get. I mean, let's take the French guys or the UK online, start the company, set it up. You can set up something, but now for it to actually be a working entity, it's a different conversation.
You have some sort of a shell. You have a name. Well, actually, you need to register the trademark, and it's also if you have a name, you need to register the name. Like that's not. I mean, you need a. Can you do it on your own? You
can do it online.
Yeah, but you have different countries, you have different regions. Like that takes some time.
Yeah, and then some guys also rely on just not doing those because they say they own the name on this date and therefore they can always prove it, etc., etc. So it depends. Some guys are like that.
Setting up like a financial structure. Where do you open the company? What makes most sense financially?
So that you see is always, especially today, keeps evolving. From a tax perspective, it depends on your citizenship, or if you have multiple citizens, all the countries you're involved with. It depends where your income is coming from, what business you're in. So yeah, there's different optimized jurisdictions for different reasons, whether it's asset protection, whether it's taxes, whether it's liability. So yeah, but you have the usual suspects, I would say, and it's true for any athlete that would just come into it, unless they have a good accountant that has been doing it for them and kind of exposed them to it. Yeah, they probably.
But
will
you
know.
hear so many stories of athletes, having great accountants or like advisors, and then all of a sudden the advisors end up with more money than the athlete.
Yeah, well, that sadly happens, yeah. But I think it's good in a way if the athlete, again, coming back to one of our previous episodes, if the athlete was surrounded by smarter people than him and started with advisors that were richer than the athlete. And then after, it will always make sense to have that gap, but they keep learning and keep being elevated as they go on.
So, 2 questions. Should an athlete register a company, so start with register a company, at some point in his career, maybe register his trademark or his name or his signature, so that maybe later on he has something already that's set up and he can use it for some business ideas and future adventures. A, and B, actually, let's go with A first.
No, I think even in your career, there's going to be, especially just looking at tennis, there's always a good opportunity to use a company, whether it's to receive some funds, whether it's to pay some expenses on, medical team, whatever staff you have around you, or just even setting one up to maybe help family members. So I think there's always use for that, to optimize
and
tax,
there's ways
liability.
How to do it
exactly.
that are not too expensive.
Yeah, opening a company today, a simple LLC is going to cost you a few hundred. Yeah. And limited, I think, is even under 100. Yeah. Just that you have maybe ongoing costs that'll amount to a few hundred. So I think you should definitely do that, and you should definitely explore structuring your career. Now, on trademark and everything else, is it worth it? If you're in the top 250, does it matter? Probably not. If you're in the top 10, maybe look at it, because you don't know where you're going to end up. If you have the potential to be top 10 and stay there consistently, maybe you're going to win, I don't know, a few slams towards the end of your career. Maybe your name is going to be sung by fans or change just a little bit, and you want to trademark that and put that on a t-shirt. You never know.
I always tell people, doesn't matter if you're an athlete or not. Understand what you really love doing outside of your job. Yeah. And then I think you can train your mind to be focused on, have like a business mind. Yeah. It's the same with, like, as an athlete, you always think about how can I improve my forehand, my backhand, my stroke, whatever, my punch. And I think the same way you can walk through life and kind of think, okay, how can I make money with this? For example, my passion is boating, fishing, and flying airplanes. But like I always think, like, how could I potentially make some money with it? Like, and I feel like you can train that mindset.
Yeah, for sure.
And I always tell people, no matter if they're athletes or not, whatever you love, see if you can train your brain. Give yourself 2, 3, maybe 5 years. How can you make money with your passion? Is there do you have anything like that like it's your passion, it's something you love doing, but you don't make money with it yet, but you plan on doing so later on? Or your hobby is just making money purely? That's it.
Yeah, a bit of both. I think one interesting today, if I just think about the similar thoughts I've had in the past few months, I think video games has been that was like, how would you make money? Can I create the same video game? Or when I see these independent studios, can I do something like this with AI? Can I ask it to code it? How would I code it? When I'm playing, can I actually? I'm beating lots of the guys here. Can I be a competitive player?
Really?
There's all these questions that come.
You want to become a gamer?
No, I just. But it's the question that inevitably you're going to ask.
Yeah.
You ask yourself. So, you always have those thoughts like, how would I rank against so the top guys, and then you look at the times or you look at scores, and then you get an idea. And then for me, it's always just like the beginning of the rabbit hole, where it's like, okay, now the studio does this, they do X, Y, and Z. Why do they do this when it doesn't seem like the most logical thing? And then you discover it's like, oh, okay, because their service providers are owned by these other guys, so they probably get discounts on that other end. And then how do they distribute? Like, how do you distribute a video game? How do you buy a franchise of a new video game that was dead? That maybe you played on PlayStation 1, but now it's here, or it was previously on the first Xbox, or owned by Microsoft. Or how do you get from one platform onto another? So then all these questions get triggered. So I think it's important to train that mindset where you're just curious.
So let's say you have a solid job, you make good money, but you're not fulfilled. You want to do more. You want to become independent. You want to start your own business.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make the decision? At what point, like, is there like a checklist you need to go through, where you then later on decide, okay, yes, I'm going to quit my job, start my own business, and how do I do so? Or when do you say, like, don't do it? Like, is there some advice? Because a lot of people also, they have great jobs, sometimes boring, sometimes too predictable, sometimes they feel like, okay, there's more to it, and they want to start their own business, but then they don't even realize that, okay, suddenly you have to pay different taxes, and if you hire people, you have to pay their health insurance and their taxes and their pension plan and all that stuff. So any advice you can give to people?
I think the best is, again, like we did when you transitioned out of tennis, or not out, but transitioned out of a tennis player.
Out of a tennis court.
It's to just look at what's coming in, what's coming out. Now, if you're going to be 100% focused on entrepreneurship, or your project, the main in is going to be just that. Unless you were lucky to build a portfolio and invest and do other things. Once you've done that calculation, you need to kind of make this secondary plan where it's like, okay, you have an emergency fund, or you have, let's say, some cushion that allows you to try out your new project for X many months. And then what are the goals that you need to hit with that project for you to be able to cover the expenses in the end without that cushion or emergency fund, or literally once you've run out. Because most of the guys run out and then they're trying to keep going. So I would say that simply works. And then when you are in that state of survival, at least the people I know and myself, when you're in that state of survival, you usually do better than if you had all the comfort given to you.
Yeah, but that's stressful.
Yeah, but then entrepreneurship is stressful. So then you shouldn't be an entrepreneur if you don't want stress.
That is true. There's no easy way around it.
Unless you're very good at it, then it's just something you love to do. So, yeah,
like
I would
you.
say. The thing is, I think I've built the stress threshold. So it's just like you just build it higher and higher.
What's real stress to you? Like,
to be honest, no, there's nothing. Like, really nothing. I've got everything from death threats to
you did
legal
receive.
Action. Yeah, I did.
Why?
So remember when I bought that restaurant?
You told about the wrong hair product or what?
No. When I bought the first restaurant,
yes.
One of the workers apparently was in jail or something, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to kill you," and I was like, "Yeah, well, try." So at that moment, you're like, "Is he serious?" And then after you realize he is serious, but then I realize I'm me, and I'm like, "Okay, well, not too bad." It's like, what are you going to do? It's like I'm still trained in lots of things that maybe I shouldn't be trained in. And then
we're not going to talk about this today.
And then it happens again on social media or whatever, so then you just get used to it. And same thing with the work. It's like, legal action is like, cool. Like with the structure we have today, it's like, and it's going to go nowhere anyway. So you just learn to defend against different things. So the stress becomes, and then the knowledge gets higher. So then you're more comfortable and you see stuff happen every day. So, yeah. What about you? What's your big stressor before we get to the $1 million question?
Big stress? I think, you don't have a family yet. I mean,
I do.
You have a family,
yeah.
but I think once you have kids, multiple kids, I think the focus shifts on them. Like, you want to take care of them. You want to make sure everything's fine. They're safe. They're taken care of. So, and that's the only stress. And as a player or as a tennis player, since day one, you knew that you are like only you are responsible for the income.
Mhm.
If you are hurt, no income. If you're in a bad mood and you don't feel like playing, no
Mhm.
income. If other things happen, if you just play poorly,
Yep.
sometimes you do everything right
Mhm.
and you still lose, no income. And basically, since a very, very young age, since like the age of like 7, 8, 9, I understood that I'm responsible
Well, yeah.
for the income that
Mm.
later, like I'll have later. And
Mm.
it's not like, um, I want to become a pilot, so I go to school once I'm done with school, like
Yeah.
at age 18, 19, 20, and until then, you just do whatever you
Right.
want to do. No, at age like 8, 9, 10, I
You
understood
knew. Yeah.
I'm going to become a tennis player. So if I don't train properly now, I'm going to regret it later on.
Mm.
So when people say like, "Oh, like your playing career, like when did you become a pro?" I'm like, honestly, I think when I was like 6 or 7 years old.
Mm.
But like, yeah, but you weren't making any money. I'm like, no, I wasn't making money,
But mentally, you were there.
but I understood I'm
Totally.
already working.
Yeah.
I'm not just hitting balls just to hit balls.
Right.
Of course, I'm doing it because I love it.
But yeah.
But every training has a potential outcome
Come
later
down.
on, and that's why, and that is relatively stressful.
But don't you get used to it with time?
You get used to it, but you also get tired of it.
Yeah. But that's, I would say it's the same as I had to take care of my family. But then after you kind of separate and you're like, okay, well,
You need to
That's-
kind of like not care at one point
yeah, exactly.
anymore.
That's
Like
the thing.
just be
Yeah.
like, you know what, and this is
it just goes away.
you kind of like you worry, you care, and at some point, you know
Until
what,
don't.
to F with it.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah, you don't
Because right now, I mean, people know, like, yes, you and I, we live in Monaco. It's super expensive. Like, yes, it's beautiful. I'm like, okay, what's the worst thing that can happen? And I always said, as long as, knock on wood, we do that. Sorry. As long as you're somewhat healthy and you're sane,
Exactly.
because that's also part.
But even if you're not sane, imagine if you're insane, it's pretty fun because now you have zero responsibility.
Yeah, but
and you go
I
crazy.
I don't wish that upon my kids or my wife. No, but you can be okay, and because there's a lot of people out there
Yeah.
that are,
Have
you
it
know,
way worse.
yes, and I think that's also the crazy part of today's world. Like, we're 7 to 8 billion people, and how many of them are really struggling on a daily
Yeah.
basis just to
Yeah.
get food and like drinking water, and then I always try to like see it in perspective. But honestly, now the only stress I put on myself is like to take care of like, I feel like I went from playing tennis, being upset, to like just providing, but it doesn't sound bad. I mean, in a good way.
Oh yeah.
That's my task now. I'm like already setting up my retirement and the retirement of my kids, you know, like it's, and the stress is, like if you don't perform, you have to adjust, adapt. And I think it's the fear of having to do so rather than failure.
Yeah.
It's because what's failure? Failure is just you just have to adapt. You adjust
and just start again or start something new.
Yeah. And it's scary, and I think it's scary also if you don't trust yourself, if you don't trust your skill.
That's another thing.
And that, for some reason, since also when I was 6, 7 years old, when I understood I have to play well in order to provide to me and my family, I also felt like I'm somewhat confident in my skills. I knew I'll be fine one way or the other. Worst case scenario, I'll start a YouTube channel and take people fishing with me. I'll just go fish everywhere I go. Just I'm kidding, but like that's how I feel.
I think that's a great conclusion. Just trusting yourself.
Yeah,
So.
I think that's the most important. And I think since we're chasing millions day by day, and everyone is, we need to come back to the $1 million question. And I want to ask you, who gave you the best advice you never followed?
Funnily enough, I always listen to everyone.
Because
So
you live with your senses wide open.
I didn't. There's not one good advice that I've heard that I've never followed.
But you don't follow every advice.
No, but I listen to it and I kind of analyze it and try to always find the truth to it, and I also try to understand the scope under which it was given to me. So, the bias of the giver. And yeah, you just have this more global view. What about you?
I mean, that's a lot of great advice I probably never follow, but I don't regret most of them because sometimes advice is like, you have a math equation like, 2 plus 2,
Mm.
like, is 4. But if everyone always tells you the result,
Yeah.
like, it's not great.
No.
And sometimes it's the same with advice. Like I sometimes know it's great advice, it's good and it's right, but you tell me because of your experience.
Yeah.
If I don't have the experience, I have all the answers, but I have no experience, and this is not the same. So I keep
You
that
mean
advice.
don't invest in XYZ in 2018 that I told you about?
For example,
So-
like you're like, don't do it. I'm like, he might be right, but
I need to learn.
like it's not only that, but there is another reason behind it. Like there was, I wanted to get in touch with the people that told me about investing. Like I wanted to see, like, look, is there something I can draw from it, like more than just the investment and the potential outcome? And yeah, I never forget. And after that, I kind of learned that, like, okay, if he says don't do it, I'm just not gonna do it. It's very simple, because if you come to a tennis court and I tell you how to hit a forehand, like, I know how to hit a forehand.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
my forehand is terrible, but like I know how to teach you.
Sure, yeah.
Like if you then like try to teach me back how to hit a forehand, like no, it's probably not gonna work. Same thing with finances. Like you have more experience, and like if it comes down to like real money now these days, I'm gonna listen to you. So
Sounds good.
we keep it simple. Sometimes it's very good to know what you're really bad at.
Exactly. Wow,
And that
on those
was-
words.
And that was episode number 3 of
Number
Courtside
3.
Capital.
Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, please send them to us via Instagram.
If you have questions, if you have remarks, if you want to talk about specific cases sometimes, and we'll be happy to do so. So drop us a line on Instagram.
Please ask us anything. Thank you very much.
Almost anything.
Almost.